Hello, Kaiju United. Nick Crispino reporting from New York Comic-Con. We are here with Tim Seeley, writer of the new Godzilla ongoing series, part of the greater Kai-Sei universe that IDW has going on. Tim, how are you doing today?
Good, man. Good to meet you.
Meet you too. So, this series gives off a lot of shonen vibes. What were some inspirations, and how do you incorporate Godzilla into that kind of storytelling?
Yeah, I mean, definitely we were trying to create something, I think, knowing that we were going to use the entirety of the universe that existed, that we were able to pull anything. We want to kind of pick, each of the books would have their own sort of genre and vibe. And so, obviously Dead Zone is sort of the survival horror Godzilla story. Starship Godzilla is a science fiction story. Then this one had to be the sort of bombastic action story. And we wanted to kind of play with like the Sentai genre a little bit. We wanted to reference American superhero comics, obviously. And also we played a little bit, towards the actual G-Force, which is an existing idea in Godzilla. And sort of try to use all the toys that are on the that are available and play with everything and to kind of create something new but familiar, which is kind of our approach to it.
So speaking of shonen, this series also takes a lot from manga. How do you balance the manga influences with American comics?
I mean, a lot of that is with our artist Nicola, who has the kind of manga influence art style, with some Western influence as well. And I tend to not think of things too much like comics and manga are different. I just kind of think it's all sequential storytelling. It's all, superhero, it's hero storytelling. It's about the good guys and the bad guys and the monsters and everything. But I did try to pull in some of the sort of bigger themes, I think, which is the stuff that really works in manga. And certainly like the influence of, Attack on Titan, or there's a lot of One Punch Man and Jason and sort of those ideas, but also, those are also ideas that were influenced by superhero comics as well. So, taking all the parts that are good from all of our kinds of comics and trying to make something that feels like Godzilla, it feels like a manga, feels like an American comic, but it is also something kind of new. Like that was the job, I think, and that was our approach to it. Is use all the best parts, keep the stuff that really works, play with the themes that have always been part of Godzilla, and then just really expand upon those into a whole world.
So talk to me about like the creative process with the other Kai-Sei creators. How did you guys keep in line with the greater world building while being able to tell your own individual stories?
I mean, a big part of that is our editor, Jake Williams. Jake's job is to run the entire show, and he's the one that kind of came up with this shared creative universe, and he's the one that picked the people to work on it. And so he gave us an overall idea, and we all traded like the first pitches that we'd all done so that we could kind of see what other people were doing. And that also kind of meant, we knew the threads that were going to be, put into this story now that we can tie off together later, that we can have them cross. So right now, the big effort was tell original story in your particular pocket of this new world, with the idea that someday, obviously, they're going to bump into each other. So we're kind of keeping all the toys, they're all available, everything that's ever happened. But like the only thing we talk about our stories, we connect. The only thing we've had to get sort of instruction on is, I'm already using that guy, you can't use him. That's kind of the only thing so far that we've really needed to, check in with each other. Because we're doing different enough stories and different enough genres in Godzilla that we're not stepping on each other's toes too much.
Can you tell me about the pitch process of this ongoing series?
Well, basically, Jake he and I had worked together on Godzilla vs. Chicago, which I wrote and drew a story in that anthology book. And he kind of liked the way I was, doing Godzilla, but also just that I'm pretty flexible as far as working with people. And so he had said, hey, I have another possible Godzilla thing for you. And he gave me the nugget, which is it's 3 titles, and they're sort of related, and we want to do the G-Force book, essentially. And that's all I had to do was go with that, and then we built a world kind of around the idea that if Godzilla had really been around for 70, 80 years, what would have happened to the world? Like how would society be different? How would technology be different? How would America be different? How would Japan be different? And kind of create this place that something we hadn't really seen before, which is sort of Godzilla as an alternate history kind of take. And so I pitched that basic idea, and we went back and forth, and we then went through Toho. And Toho America is really cool. They're really easy to work with, and they basically said, that works really well, and that was it. We didn't have any real big conflicts or notes or anything. We were just kind of able to hit the ground running and make this comic.
Isn't it great when there's no notes?
It's so nice when there's no notes. Yeah, it's rare when there's no notes, but this was a case in which, we were able to just, do. It was something they were looking to do anyway, which is to expand upon, the characters in Godzilla and, the idea that it could be different genres, right? It's Godzilla. It has been a kid's story. It has been science fiction. It's been a horror story. It has been everything, and like celebrating that idea, I think is what we really want to do with this.
So the Kai-Sei Godzilla, he's one of the most unique iterations we've ever seen, and he's made specifically for the comics.
Yes.
What goes into characterizing a Godzilla that's meant for a specific medium?
Well, we knew it had to be visual, and so this idea that we came up with, that if Kai-Sei energy, Godzilla and all the kaiju and also Jason being imbued with this force that kind of goes through their bodies, we had to see it on the outside. So our Godzilla's cracked, like it's literally, sort of seething from the inside, and all the rage is coming out, and it's like coming out in these rivers across the body and stuff. And we really wanted this Godzilla to look like he's been through some stuff. Like this is a beat up, lived in Godzilla. This Godzilla has been stomping across the world for a long time and has interacted with all kinds of monsters and all kinds of people trying to defeat it, and it's still there. It's still trucking, still wrecking stuff. So we want to see that on the outside, and then obviously the key color of this sort of green energy was a way for us to kind of show very distinctly this is not the blue energy Godzilla of the movies. This is not the pink one of the legendary films. Like this is our own take on it. But it also sort of represents the Earth, right? Godzilla's a sort of vengeance of the Earth made physical. And so we wanted to be able to see all that inner stuff on the outside.
All right, last one. It's a bit of a softball question, but we've seen Jet Jaguar, we've seen Anguirus. Can you give us a little insight? Can we expect more familiar faces, or are we more focusing on original characters for this series?
Oh, you'll definitely see some of the old. I love, the movies, and one of my big pitches was I want to be able to roll out new takes on some of these characters, but also the ones that are like so perfect and don't need any sort of reinvention. I want to make sure we get to some of those too. So you'll definitely see them. The next arc, right off the bat, you'll see quite a few. So.
Well, Tim, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks, man.